Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on some tools for dulcimer players, and lately we've been working on a chord chart. I think we have most of the pieces we need to run um, to list out the elements of a chord with the sort of what fret numbers does it involve. We've already got something that lists out the chords and it knows the shapes of the chords and it knows how to form a G minor chord or whatever. Um, we're just not quite done. So I'm thinking of this as permutations of the strings. I guess I should say that too. So um, if I want to find all the chords in a given range, I'm going to take the root of each note of the root of the chord, like if it's a C chord, C, and I'm going to try and place that on the first string, and then put the third on the middle string and the fifth on the melody. Or I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to put the root on the first string, but the fifth on the middle string and the third on the melody. So um, that kind of gives these permutations. The next one is a C note on the middle string, and then flip the two possibilities there. So I know at some point we have to do these permutations of the intervals. I think where we are now is not there. Let's see. We started a test. Okay, so we're taking the standard fretboard diatonic 1/6, which is a regular fretboard with two extra accidental notes on it. Very common these days. And we're saying I want to form a D major chord. I'm not sure why I have to say that fret. I don't think I need to. I mean, even though D is the the note at fret 0. All right, let's take that out tentatively. And well, that will fail. It failed before, so we'll take this out here. I guess that's important too. And do that. Okay. Yeah, it's going to fail this one. Empty, we expected 002. Hopefully he's just behind. Okay. Yeah, as often the case, I think Xcode's a little not caught up on these messages. All right, so we got back empty string or empty list because that's what we return here. Okay, so I guess the order we passed in array of chord intervals. So it says do the root, then the fifth, and the third in our example. Okay, so that should give us. Okay, so well, I guess a zip isn't necessarily the worst place to start. Okay, so zip is saying match the strings to the intervals. That seems like a good thing. Okay, and then well, we had something that gives us the last. Let's see. Where's that last thing? Was it on fretboard? Or the first? Yeah, first fret for a note name on a strings note name and for a given note. Okay, so somewhere we've got the root. Okay, so we've also chord chart has the fretboard. All right, so I should be able to ask fretboard.first fret of the strings note and the note we're looking for. Where that note we're looking for comes from, that's not there yet. Okay, so string and interval. We got to convert the interval to a note. Okay, so Now I know we've done this. Is that on chord? If you call this on a note, he produces the chord. Okay. Yeah, I think. Well, that sort of tells me we should pass a chord. Or why don't we? Wait. We're trying to get. Well, I can get the chord for a note name and a quality. Okay, so let's do that. I don't know. I'm in a little bit random order here, but we're just trying to get passing. Okay. Let's call it the chord for a moment. Is chord with root, and quality. I think that's how we left it. Okay, and then we want to get the notes. Okay. Okay, so that should be an array of notes. Chord notes. How about you just open it like I asked? Okay. Chord notes have notes and the intervals. Okay. Alrighty. Can I convert value of note name to expected type chord quality? Oh, is it 4? I think root would be a better phrase for that. All right, we'll come back to that. For root with quality. Okay. So these are chord tones. Now, can I ask a chord? Well, okay. So something's got to permute, right? We're giving it an order. And it's funny we can't ask the chord for what's your third, right? Perhaps that's something we should be able to ask. Yeah, let's if I had that, I could ask fretboard dot first fret on string for note. Okay. What's note? Well, note is really, well, let's just get chord. My chord. I want to ask it, well, I don't have the right name, but for interval. Okay, so we're sort of trying to assume things into existence here. We look up the notes of the chord. That's chord does that. So we have that in my chord. we have the tuning strings, we have our permutation order. We're going to map those to, well, we have the pair string and then the interval for fifth, third, root, whatever. And we will look up the fretboard, the first fret on this string for that note. Okay. So maybe it's note, chord.note of interval. Okay. And well, let's push it in. Yeah, let's let this test drive it in. So this is a function note. It takes an interval. Actually, I did look up. Oh, thank you. Let me fix that before we go any further. Chord. At least according to some sources, the word we're looking for is not interval, but factor. And it's funny because I have one of my harmony books is Walter Piston was kind of a big name in harmony books for a while. It's like a 1947 edition, and he has one sentence where he says the factors of a triad are the first, the third, the fifth, etc. You know, and I looked up. Then I looked up on the internet and I looked in their index. There's no other mention. I flipped through a number of places that might say it. Nobody really uses the term again in there, but I looked it up on the internet. Let's see. I can do that real quick here. Do I still have it? No. Factor in a triad. Chord. Something like that. Yeah, so if you know what you're looking for, you can find it. It's funny, I did the search on a different device and it came back first with an AI summary. Oh, yeah. The one I've had came back with an AI summary and then an encyclopedia article on it. And they used almost the exact sentence that Walter Piston used. So I think that's where that came from. But I don't ever remember hearing that term before. I mean, I guess I probably read chapter 1 of that book before, so I must have run across it, but it wasn't like italicized or anything to say like, here's a word we're defining, you know? So I think it was just a word he just kind of grabbed. It's just like we've grabbed interval. Okay, but sorry, very distractible. Okay, fretboard, no, chord. But let's call this factor, and right now it's still a chord interval. And then it's going to be notes dot, well, this should return a note name. Notes dot, find, no, filter, first where. Okay, chord note throws Boolean. Okay, so we want to find where the interval matches. So note, I guess that's $0 dot interval equals factor. Okay, so that's going to be an optional. All right, and I don't think cannot convert chord note. Yeah. Does this work? Map to $0 dot note. Just dot note. I don't know where the name came in. Okay. So go through the notes of the chord until you find the interval you're looking for and return the associated note. but if it doesn't exist, you can't return it. Okay. So I guess this is, can we be missing it? Does chord know its quality? He does, right? That's kind of what he is. Oh no, that's not what he is. Chord does know its quality. Yeah, I guess like the factors of a number. I mean, it's kind of a weird way to think about factors. I mean, they're not really prime numbers or anything. But you know, okay. It's not a bad word. I mean, we're gonna start using it shortly here. Okay, so what's the matter? Is it note name must be unwrapped? Yeah, the problem is, okay, so I'm going to the chord. I think I should be passing a chord in, but we'll see. Okay, first fret. What are you? String. Okay, I got to spell it out. You don't get to delete my old code. Okay. It's better. Okay, I'm gonna make it this for now. All right, now result of map is unused. Zip should return me the pairs. And then I'm mapping those to a fret. Okay, so let's make sure the result looks right. Array of fret optional. Oh, and first fret is also optional. Is that the deal? Yeah. Okay. I don't like all these things. Okay, so let's make sure this is right. Yes. Okay, is that what we were asking for? Yeah. Well, kind of. We got fret. And he has, okay, and we'll map that to index, I guess. Well, first fret dot index. Okay. Right. Okay, we'll say return. Eventually. Okay, return all that. I guess you're right, though. You know, if you think of it as factors as a number, the number is, you're kind of multiplying the root by the third by the fifth, gets you this combination item that's kind of a compound number, I guess. Yeah, you're right, Mudchark. It really is that. Okay. Oh, we're still running. Okay. Okay, what did we get back? 004. Oh, that is correct. Okay, let's go to fretboard. Well, actually, let's run it here. You can see it better. I'll probably do a screenshot again. That seemed a little helpful. Okay. Well, is it? We don't really want 4 back, but I can understand why it happened. Oops. Okay, so the reason it's 4, it's going to be fret 2, but this is chromatic fret number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we got to get back to the fret. Oh, and we had the fret. Do we want the strings? Okay, let's get that together. Okay, so I want the string, and then the index. I don't want the index. I want the name. Okay, and then the test. He's going to be 0, because if it was 1 plus coming back, we couldn't make sense of that. Okay. All right. Yes. Thank you. Okay. All right. Send back. Well, compute the diatonic fret numbers of a chord. Okay. Now I don't know if this is the be all and end all or anything like that, but it should give us something. Okay. All right. So well, let's I guess, okay, let's see what we're doing here. Identify chord shapes. That's a good thing. All right. Now this, we passed in this ordering. I don't even know if I like that ordering. I'm not sure what we're going to, well, okay. Yeah. So, we really want to do the permutations of the chord and get back an array of arrays. Or maybe this should be an object. We had fingering we introduced and it didn't really go anywhere. All right, so this, yeah, that could be, it's not exactly, I think the right term is chord shape. I mean, I don't know that that's an official music theory term. Like I said, I was raised on piano, not not string instruments. But we definitely use that term in the dulcimer world of like, what's the chord shape? Oh, 002. It doesn't tell you which finger goes on which, so I hesitate to call it fingering, but it's a meaningful entity, and in particular, it's something we could give the stuff to and let it produce the descriptions we want and get those on the screen. So that's one thing. Let me start writing down. So chord shape, and maybe it was fingering. Another is chord interval goes to maybe chord factor, maybe factor by itself. I don't think we'll use that word otherwise. We got to handle the permutations and display. Yeah, so it's exactly that. If you said 002, like you could just write it. You could. Well, let me find. I know I have some here. I just had a class last night. Okay, so there's sort of a basic style that, well, this is from my teacher Don Petty, who's a very old school style. You let the bottom two strings drone, and then the tab tells you what notes to play. There's also chord styles, where you would find all the tab. I don't think he's going to have any. Yeah, so one moment while I dig some up. Okay, my buddy Bing writes in a much more... Well, no, that's not going to help. He tends to write a chordal style. No, he's not doing it here. It's more of a fiddle tune in that case, so I think that's why. Let's just see. Okay, yeah. So the tab style is the fret position, the fret number on the diatonic scale. So the 1 pluses and stuff like that might show up. But it's written. This just shows you kind of mechanically. This string, the first string is open, the second string is open, the third string you put your finger on the 2, and then this 1 2 1 2 is more of a little triangle shape, and so on. But dulcimer tab, we call it, even though it's sort of hit tab on the bottom and notes on the top. And a lot of people wouldn't put the chord for the rest of it; they would just put the melody on top. But it varies depending on the song too. Most players I know don't really read this music for playing dulcimer with the top line. I'd say maybe, I don't know, 1 out of 10 or 20 maybe that might focus on the melody in the written score, standard music notation sense. Most of them play either by ear or by tab, by the numbers. And people say paper trained, if they can play songs because they've read the numbers, but they don't know the song internally and stuff. But anyway, yeah. So it's very much like guitar, except guitar will have 6 strings going across. Ukulele will have 4, but they all use the similar approach. Guitar and uke are diatonic, so for them, chromatic. So for them, the numbers get big a lot quicker. All right. Okay, so given these things, display. I think this represents the one that we now know. This is basically technical debt. Yeah, it's great for learning with, and you can put fingerings on, so this is thumb and index or whatever. If you have a really tricky reach or some trickiness where your hand's kind of tied up in knots, but you can do it, Anyway, I think let's get this name factor in there more generally, because that to me is a sort of old school sense of technical debt as being, you have an insight, where it should go, but you haven't done it yet. Not a question of is it right or wrong or any of that stuff. It's more about the unrealized insight that you could make things a little better with, but you haven't yet. Okay. So let's find chord interval. All right. So this is going to become chord factor. Just factor. Okay. And let's build. Run test. I think I didn't maybe check in my chords chart stuff yet. No. Okay. So make chord chart able to generate chords fret positions, and rename chord interval to factor. All right, so I'm trying my mic in a different USB port today. I'm back to my, I think of it as better mic. If it starts going nuts though, just definitely let me know, because I don't know. I'm kind of suspicious that it's the port on my Mac. This is going in through a separate box into a different port. Okay, so we also have the word factor, interval kicking around a lot. Some of them might be intervals, but a lot of them are going to be factors in disguise. That's a lot. Let me do the bigger one. Okay, so intervals. So quality, this should really be factors. Okay. This should be factor. I mean, it feels pretty good to do this. It's kind of I don't know. It's just one of these refactorings. It's not. It's clarifying my thinking, you know. And it's like when you use that term, it just really makes it feel better to me, because interval normally means the distance between two notes, and so calling it a chord interval is kind of a compromise. It's sort of the difference between the root and the note you're talking about or something. But factor really works as a word. Okay, this one is factor. I'm going to leave that order for now. Okay, let's repeat this search. Interval path, chord shape. Okay, well, this should be factor. And I guess interval path is really the factor path, right? Is this drawing the chord notes? Now, I don't know why we have these two chord tone, chord note. I think that's me struggling for the right word, maybe. Interval. Okay, that's a different interval. That's the time interval for the beats per minute. Beats per minute interval. Yeah, I think that should be the same. Okay, so let's run tests. Yeah, let me see if I can do something about that. Okay. Oh yeah, there's definitely headroom here. Okay, is that about right? Okay, cool. Thanks. All right, so that all ran. So let's check that in. Okay, so let's. I don't even know if we recorded anything yesterday. Stay the 26th? Yes. Okay. Let me catch those up too. Whoops. Okay, so yesterday, make the fretboard know all the notes and the first fret. Oh, and we moved stuff from chord quality, from chord chart to chord. Okay. I don't know what we would exactly call that we moved. Yeah, I guess it's the notes. Okay, and today, string permutations. Good. Okay. Now chord shape. All right. So, well, yeah, let's work on this chord chart a little bit. I mean, the root and the quality together, that feels like it ought to be the chord, right? Is that the chord? Yeah, he knows the root and the quality. He doesn't answer. Well, he's consulting the quality to get the chord, so let's pass in a chord. Chord of note name D, and I don't think I need, well, okay. It's not up to me. Quality major. Okay, so I'm going to do that. All right, and then this is going to become chord. We won't need root and quality from that directly. And my chord is just chord. That build. Okay, what's chord look like? Chord 4, note name, quality. Gosh. Chord D minor sure seems. Oh, all those 25s and 26s getting me off, huh? Okay. 26. Apparently it's been a trend. I know I've done it in other contexts too. Like this year's hardly started. Wow, I've been doing this for a while. I think I tried to write a check that way the other night. Like, oh. Have I been doing this all year? Okay. Good catch. Hey, I got it right. All right. Okay. All right, let's make sure this runs. This is already sounding better to me. Okay. Other than that, just quality. Oh yeah, we don't want to put quality in. I don't think we want the 4 either. I think it's pretty obvious. If I say it's a chord for D and a major, you're going to guess which one's the note and which one's the chord quality. Okay. Yeah, let's push that. So we change chord chord chart dot chord to take a chord instead of its pieces. I hope that will help us because we do have a chord kicking around somewhere by this time. All right, I'm gonna rescind my use of the word 4 here. I'm just going to take that out. Okay, and let it just stand alone and let the compiler tell me where I did it wrong or where I changed it. That's not the only one, but we'll start there. All right, now I guess I wonder, is this... Okay, I guess chord chart is the right place because he does depend on tuning and he depends on fretboard and then a little bit on chord. But I don't think I can push that. I don't want to push the tuning and the fretboard into chord because chord pretty well stands alone for what it is. I think that's a good thing. Right. What else? Chord shape. Yeah, so let's find fingering again. All right, I'm going to rename this to chord shape. I don't think anybody references him. I think we started to generate him and then didn't. Okay. I don't know if it should be the strings or the frets. But, well, we'll leave it that for now. Okay, and then, so what I'm saying I expect to get back is, or chord chart. I want to get back a chord shape of this stuff. And he should return a chord shape. Okay. Now, should that be a thing of strings or should it just be the frets themselves? All right, well, let's make it work. I'm going to say it should not be the names. It should be the frets. We're not using it yet, really, other than this. Okay. Is the equatable? Oh, yeah, this is... Well, let's see what our fretboard knows. He knows the frets in order. Okay, so I think this is maybe the place where that knowledge of the chromatic number comes out. Okay, so we'll extract this as fretboard. Okay, and now I'm going to say fretboard dot 0. And 4. Go back to the shape. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I'm dealing with the chromatic one. I think that's all right. Excuse me. Uh-oh. 0, 0, 2 equals chord shape fret sub 0, fret 0, fret 2 goes to fret index 0, name, wait, index 5. Name 3. Oh dear. A should be 2. Didn't think I changed anything that would do that. Let's see those changes. Okay, that's pretty harmless looking. I went from name to shape. Well, I'm going to back out a little bit here. I'm going to try it manually and then I'll just revert and redo the chord stuff if I have to. Okay, so chord shape he was string. And chord chart use the strings. Okay. And then chord chart. This was dot name. All right, let's make sure that's still right. Yeah, I'm paying. I'd like to check in more often. Okay. But I kind of hate this part being so twiddly with buttons to click and stuff. All right. So we make chord. I guess it's remove. Well, make first argument of chord, not a named parameter. Yeah, good point. Although it looks good on the screen. So 0 to 4 is 2. Okay, so it's wide, narrow, 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 wide, wide, narrow, narrow, narrow. Wide, wide, narrow, narrow, narrow. Okay, wide, narrow, narrow, narrow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think fret 4 should, chromatic 4 should map to diatonic 2. That feels right. I don't know what I did that changed things. All right, I'm going to try this again. Take the name off here. Just pass. This is array of frets now, so we need to make ChordShape take frets. Okay, and let's try frets.map $0.name. Okay, that's sort of only affecting one side. The array index is not the same as the fret number. Oh, right. Right. Maybe 3. It is 3. Okay. So maybe I should go backwards and let fretboard tell me. Fret index. Yeah. Yeah, at one point we had them all in, I think. And some of them were called blank, but now we don't. It used to be the case that this number matched up with the index in the array, but it doesn't now, which is probably okay. But I think I need to be able to come in and say, here's fret named 3. What fret are you? Okay, so that feels reasonable to ask the fretboard because it can go the other way. Function fret for name of string should give me a fret, I guess, or another optional fret. I may have to straighten out some of this optional stuff too. Okay, because you can't guarantee if you come in and say fret 4 plus, it's not in there. So something could definitely map out wrong. Okay, so let's take frets dot first where $name equals name. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay. And then the test is going to be the one that uses that. So okay. But ChordShape takes frets now. I almost, well, yeah. So we have this int kicking around that usually means the diatonic fret position. I mean the chromatic fret position. All right, let's get this thing. Is anybody referencing this? I don't think they are. Okay, good. Let's just put the frets in here then. I wonder, is anybody, let's see who's looking at this. No, we do some for loops. The view walks over the list of all frets. The fretboard sets them. So let's make this private set at least. Okay. Okay, so I think that's using ChordShape. Now let's test him a description. So we want to put 002 as the name of this ChordShape. So in the list of these, my real goal has been after this fret chart, you would have 002, 234, 432, 457, all the possible ones like that listed out, maybe in some sort of grid kind of thing that, wraps them if they don't wrap naturally. But, yeah. but we need those chord shapes. So we need to make a description of them, and that is doable. Okay, so let's make a chord shape of fret. Well, I don't care what the index is. I need the name and the type. I don't care what the type is either for the description purposes. I'm really trying to make the point that these are irrelevant. Now I want to put there's a little tiny center dot that I would like to use between them. Is that it? That could be it. And the reason I want it is because, like, you could have something with something 1011 or something like that, and I think it'd be confusing to have 3101011 something like that. It may, people write them with dashes sometimes. They just write them with nothing sometimes, but I think that'll be a starting point for us. Okay, so chord shape. Well, let's do an extension. Well, frets.map of $0.name dot joined with middle dot. Well, I feel like in Java I would have as string and I'd be a little happier. I'm tempted to add as string and as set because I just use them. I wish I had them all the time. Okay. Well, I guess we'll do this TCR style, except I'm not going to revert my test. Meaning I didn't run it and see it fail, but I'm pretty sure if I return an empty string, I get an empty string. I'm going to trust that. I can name that test better too. 100 tests. Okay. let's see. How about a chord shape description? Shows diatonic fret numbers. I'll let the separator be implicit. Okay. All right, and we're going to work on display first. It means touching it a bit more, but I kind of want to see it working, so chord chart view. For each tuning, one chord view. Okay, quality description, chord description, then the fretboard view. My internet shows it's gone completely blank. I hope it's not really messed up. All right, and let's do well, we know the chord. I guess it's that. Chord of note quality. We got some cleanup to do in here too. All right, but we want, well, we want a text of chord chart dot chord of that chord, and we'll just steal this order for now just to get things moving. I probably don't have the chord chart. Dot chord of note quality and this permutation. Do I have chord chart? I have chart. Chart.chord. I thought the whole point of having description was so you could just automatically do that, but we've been hit by this again, I think. Okay, I'm going to reload my chat screen and see if it picks me up again. Oh, there it goes. Okay. All right, that seems to be building. Okay, so I think what we should see then is the first sort of, we call it L-shaped. It's like 002 or 335 or, you know, that shape. We should see that one on each chord. So that's something. Oh, boom. Okay. The fifth. bet the chord is the 7th chord. Yep. Has no 5th. Now I thought... Yeah, that only works... It's really because I'm forcing the chord shape on one that doesn't have that one. So, let's see, where am I here? If quality equals major or quality equals minor, we'll do this. This is very hacky. Okay. Dot, dot, dot. It's really, I'm hard coding this order, and they vary between the types of chords. So a 7th chord doesn't have a 5th in a 3-string dulcimer. No. So the quality order, oh man. Okay. I don't think chord is the 5th, root 3rd, and 5th. Oh, we don't have the quality hanging around now. What's going on? Let's see. Chord.note. Chord.note of factor root, 3rd, 5th. What's factor? 3rd. We didn't test this thing directly. I wonder if he's screwed up. Okay, chord.factor. I mean, he looks for a factor that matches factor. That seems okay. Map that to the note. So the quality order, I mean, I specifically don't want it in the order the chord has it, because the chord's probably going to have root 3rd, 5th, or root 3rd, 7th. But we're trying to do all the permutations of not fingerings, but chord shapes. You know, so I want the root of the chord here, and then I want to do it with the 5th in the middle and then the 3rd, or I want to do it with the 3rd in the middle and then the 5th. So I need the permutations. But this seems to, I'm puzzled. Okay, so chord.note of factor, and this chord has a factor that's a 3rd. So why didn't it come back with the note that's at position 8? Now, does that fretboard that's chromatic position 8? There is none. Something's wrong. Oh, yes, it could. Yeah, because, well, let's find an example. Yeah, this, the only place the F occurs is here and here. There's no F on this string. So if I try and make one, yeah. Yeah, that was. I mean, I kind of knew we didn't flesh this out fully with chord chart because having these things, one of them says I don't have that. I guess chord.note of third is probably okay. Let's see if it'll still print it. I think it's going to come back with like F. Okay, position 8. 0, 1. Well, it's probably easier on the fretboard. Position 8 is 4 plus. What's a 4 plus? G, A, it's a B flat. Okay, so a G minor chord can use a G, B flat. What the chord, well, we don't know what the root is. Okay, but anyway, it's trying to get that B flat. So G minor could need it. Can you get a G minor? I guess not really. You don't have a 4 plus in general. Why is that? Position. Oh, the root is in 4. Okay, so it's 2 is F. No, F sharp. Oh, so it's probably an A sharp. A sharp and B flat are sort of the same. So F sharp, A sharp, C sharp would be an F sharp chord. But that shouldn't work. All right, what's the other one? 4, 8, 11. 6 and a half. Six and a half is a C sharp here. So F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. Or F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. So he's trying to get an F sharp major chord. That shouldn't be possible. So I think we're allowing chords that aren't legit to go in. Yeah. Right. And if it's not a requirement that the permutation be valid. I mean, we need to handle this case. So maybe we set aside the UI piece for a moment and let's address it with a test. Okay. Oops, I don't want this one. Chord shape. I want chord chart. Okay, so F sharp major, I believe will crash. Actual should be nil. Does this thing have to return a nil? I think he does. If the chord shape isn't feasible in this permutation, then then it should return nil for the whole thing. Okay, so F sharp major in DAD has no, FAC is a major, so F sharp, A sharp, C sharp is a major, and there's no 4 plus on our fretboard, so there is no A sharp to be found. Any ordering would have the same problem. Wherever it looks for the A sharp, it's not there. Okay. Right. I think the test is good. I think it should crash, I guess, right? That's what we're guarding against. Oh. Okay, so the question is not that so much. I'm going to continue to be hacky here. Okay, so we're going to say if this thing is not nil, do that. Okay. We'll straighten it out. But I just want to get through optional type chord shape, and we'll say we know it's not nil now, so that's fine. But the chord chart, okay, he expects it. He promises it, but he never returns it. So let's run that test. I assume it will blow up in the same way with the third not being handy. Why? I'm a little puzzled. I thought this only happened if has chords for note name and quality were there. This one does not satisfy that because there's no A sharp on the whole thing. Yeah. Note is F sharp. Why is that a problem? Oh, I didn't do the right kind of sharp. Okay. Users don't get to type the sharp in, so I think that's all right. I want to crash. I just want the right crash. Yeah, has chords does not check that, but it should never have hit that chord to start with. I'm puzzled by that because there's no A sharp on any string, so it should complain. Okay, here we go. All right, so found nil here. That is fine. That's the failure we want. All right, so okay, if the note of factor is not found, all right, so if chord.note factor is nil, well, return doesn't return all the way out. It just returns the result of this map. Requires a conceptual type. Okay. Well, let's flip it around. I don't understand the conceptual type thing. That should be mapping to a fret. Let's take this out a moment. Yeah. Okay, let's stop the run. Okay, so if the chord factor... Now, I would think this, I don't know what the textual type is. Nil is fret. Ugh. If chord note factor equals nil. Well, okay, I can pull that out separately. The zip of the tuning strings in the order is well, string and factor, because it's array of tuples. No, it's not. Okay, are you a tuple? Yes. Okay. If there's all satisfy string dot and factor dot, there's another one that's the opposite, right? I think. Is there any? Well, I could put a not on the front. If not, string and factor all satisfy. Wow, that's quite a guess. Yeah, you can factor nils out, right? Because you can. There's a flat map kind of thing that will do that, but really we don't want, if any of them fail, then there's something wrong. So maybe I don't need to do that. Let me undo this. Okay. I mean, the real thing is this thing fails if chord.note of factor if chord.note of factor fails, I mean, that's where we're asking for an A sharp that doesn't exist. Is that right? Oh, I don't think chord.note of factor is the thing that's failing. Okay, that's maybe I'm getting too internal here. It's really this thing is let fret equal that if return, yeah. Okay, what is the result of this? I think shape should be array of optional fret. No. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's easier to do it after it figures it out. So why don't you try and map all those strings? If you can't map one, if you can't find the right fret, yeah, I mean, I think the sign is there here though. You're looking for a fret that's not there. I mean, this is all tied to the chord shape stuff, so I don't think it's fretboard's job to know per se. Maybe it could be. I mean, you can't ask him about chord. It's got to be in the context of this order, because the note might be on one string but not on another. Like G sharp is on the middle string but not on the outer strings. So our naive, is this okay thing is going to be wrong sometimes, even that. But I think what we want to say is, if shape contains, that guess was kind of right. $0 equals nil. Okay, so if the shape contains any nils, then return nil. Okay, and then this is shape. No, he shouldn't accept nils. Ugh. The error handling is always the worst. All right, I see we're due for a break. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back and tweak this the rest of the way. Because right now we're stuck with, we got shape is array of optional fret, and I want it to be an array of fret. Okay, but yeah, take a break, 3 or 4 minutes, be back and fix this. All right, welcome back. Okay, so we have, this says map everybody to their right, to the first fret you can find for them, going up that string based on the factor. But sometimes, like we said, we might not have a note, so that will get a nil, because this first fret will come back as a nil. If any of these come back as nil, that means we couldn't find one of the notes on the string we said it would be. Now, that could be because it's not on any of the strings, but I think our naive chord checker will say you can make the chord, but it doesn't really consider that you might not be able to, based on which the different strings have different actual notes on them. So some notes are on one string and not the other. Okay, so now we've checked this. If any of them did fail, then this is not really a valid chord, and we're left with shape is array of fret of optional fret, and I'm just going to map this to an array of frets, which is what it wants, and it's really just $0 bang. Okay, so map each optional fret to a found fret, because we know none of them are nil, so that's safe. All right, and let's make sure our test passes. Yeah, and the other suggestion was to validate shape to the fretboard, and that might be doable. I mean, you'd have to know where to look on the fretboard, though, so there's some kind of ambiguity about that. But that might be a better place to look. We'll see. This is on the fretboard, and it knows the fretboard and the tuning, so that's kind of what you need to know the answer. Okay. So we make chord shape fail if any notes not found. Yeah, so I think it's really kind of a question of who's going to have the information to do it. So fret, if you tell it the string, it knows, but it doesn't know the strings. So I don't think he has enough information without this. No. I mean, if you gave him the strings, yeah. So, I mean, this is back to like how much, who knows what. And so it's like right now the fretboard, it really, well, I guess it's easier to visualize here. It really is the frets. It's like you haven't even strung the thing. You haven't decided what tuning or any of that stuff. The strings aren't even there. And these are the distances between notes and the names of them. And that's kind of what fretboard knows. If I start giving him everything about the tuning, well, I mean, that's kind of what chord chart is, you know, given the tuning and the fretboard, put those two together and now match up things. But we could, I mean, we could certainly answer the question of like, can you have something that goes to 4.5, 6.5? The fretboard can answer that for sure. So there is something going on there. It's like we want the shape, the chord quality determines the shape. And if we had the fret position to give it, like the chromatic fret position, so it knew it was starting, I guess it doesn't matter, one or the other. It can go between them. Starting at fret 2, can you do this? Well, let's look at this some more. I mean, I don't think he can do it without the tuning. Well, at least, yeah, he's going to have to go through the strings, right? He'd have to go through all the strings in order and do this. So he would kind of correspond to this, but without finding first fret. Well, I guess he's got to go know the notes then. Yeah, it's making him know more than I think he should know, I guess. But I don't know if, like, there's nothing that really represents. Well, let's see this thing. Tuning, what is strings? Tuning strings. I mean, I guess it's the same problem for him. He knows the string notes, but he doesn't know the fretboard. Yeah, so I feel like chord chart is the thing that's putting these two entities together to generate the whole array of notes and chords and stuff. So I'm inclined to leave it here, but I don't know. This digging out and checking the nulls and all that definitely feels awkward. I'm kind of surprised. Well, no, I put the bang on this one before that caused the problem. I mean, this is okay. Chord shape. I mean, the other way would be push it up to chord shape, let him take array of optional frets and decide if he's missing some, he's not going to do it. Or yeah. I think that's okay. Let's see if that runs. I'm still a little worried that we might try and do a chord that's not there, but I guess the notes are all somewhere. Doesn't matter if they're not in the right place, then there's an issue. And maybe we've pulled those out. Shape does ask the fretboard for the frets. So fretboard is, yeah, I mean, the difference to me is he knows, well, yeah, I don't know. No, we still blowing up here? What's the factor? The fifth. What's the chord? It's a seventh chord. Oh, I changed that test outside it. Yeah, that I can't change that. I can't drop that test yet. If chord chart not nil, right, and quality equals major or quality equals minor. Okay. I can't do seventh chords yet because we're hard coding the third, root third, fifth thing. I just want to get through this enough to see an answer and then get on the permutations. Oops, I meant to run. Okay, what's the matter? What? He's a seventh chord. Did I not block that? If quality equals major or minor, then root third and fifth are valid. Why did you get through? Or are you coming from there or somewhere else? Chord chart chord. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I do have to test this. I can't test chord for being nullable. All right. Sorry. I can't ask the chord because I'm passing in the wrong fret position. I'm passing in the fifth instead of the seventh. Oh man. Golly. Let's do this. Okay, this is progress. Okay, so D major, we need some spacing and stuff, but D major, the root fifth third position is the 002, and that's the only chord, D chord you'll find like that unless you go up to 779, which is the next octave. All right, D minor, D F A, D A F is 1.5. Okay, how about G? Okay, E major, that's the tricky one because that G sharp, well, he's not two up from anything. The shape doesn't work. So this, he can't find a G sharp on, it's trying to find root fifth third. There's no G sharp on this string, so that's why he blows up. E, G, B, yeah, that's a normal 113. You're sliding up 002, add 1 to each, 113, Z minor, F major you can do. Interesting. Okay. And then G major should be in here. Well, there's several. Okay. I'm good. I think we'll make sure that seventh chords do the right thing, and then we'll filter out these failed chords, nil ones. Yeah. Okay. So, well, this is sort of a early view of a single permutation for the chord. But it's finding the right ones in the ones it does find. So that's a good thing. Okay. Good. All right. Now the permutation aspect of this. Okay. So I think what you're going to want to do is you've got the chord coming into you. All right, let's make sure that's true in our view here. Well, yeah, so coming in here, we've got the note and the quality, which is implicitly the chord. Now we could, from the quality, we can find out the valid intervals. Okay, and we're going to need that. But, all right, so well, okay, so this is the more actual one. Okay, so we got the fretboard. All right, so what I want to find is the chords for this, and I don't want to tell it the order. Okay, and then that, well, maybe this is really shapes. Okay, so there's L slant, extended slant, reverse L, reverse slant, reverse extended slant. They're all valid shapes. Then there's some with the open strings that we might or might not see in this case. But, all right. So I think what I need is something that more easily lets me do this. Let me define a helper. Maybe I'll put them at the bottom. I don't know where to put them. All right. Private func frets, and he takes names of strings and produces frets. Well, that's pretty good. Okay. And what's array of fret is a chord shape. Oh, that's different. Okay. Right. So what I want to do is Let's make a variable out of this. Okay, and now frets is going to be that map. I want to give him the strings and have him do this for each one of them. I think he just takes frets, right? Yep. Okay. And now this should be frets of 0. Oh, he is a chord shape. Let's not call that frets then. Let's call it shape. We're going to use diatonic fretboard. Okay. All right, we'll just comment these, make sure that works. Okay, so I think we can just say finds. Okay, so DAD actual is shapes for the D chord. All right, and then the result of this is going to be an array. Well, it's going to be this one first. 0, 0, 2, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5, 7. Now the backwards. And we haven't defined an ordering yet. We're going to have to. But if they come up right, we'll work on that. Um, 4, 3, 2, 7, 5, 4. Okay, so this is 6 because if you have 3 items and you do all the permutations, 0, 1, 2, 0, 2, 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 2, 0, and so on, you get 6 answers. All right, and so this should be the right values. We'll have to add a comparator to shapes, but I think we'll get this implemented first. Okay, so chord chart. Okay, so if I say function shapes for chord, should yield array of chord shape. Okay, and we'll filter out any bad ones. Okay. All right, so we need permutations, and there is a Swift algorithm for that. I did look it up. Okay, so well, yeah, this should be it. Okay, so if you do 10, 20, 30, you get all 6 combinations. So we just need to give it an array, which we get from the quality, which we know. Although I think our chord doesn't really keep it, but we can. We get the quality, we ask it for what are your factors, we do the permutations, and then each one of those we call this, and then we filter out the ones that are not nil. Okay, so we're going to have to put the library in for Swift algorithms. I don't think we did that here yet. No. Takes a minute. We'll add them to DPN. All right, but this thing can return empty for a moment. Set got it, good. Okay. And the test should fail. Can we ask chord for a factor? Yeah, we should be able to ask that. We can't now, but we certainly should be able to. He's using it right here, so we know it has it. Well, but I think we just have to save quality. So we'll check that too, or do that too. All right, he's gonna fail. I think, do we make our shapes equatable? Oh man, has no member shapes. Okay, I think that's an old message. Expectation failed. Yep, 002, 234, 457, 200, 432, 754. Okay. I mean, really, these should probably sort like 002, 200, 234, 432, 457. So sort by dictionary order, first field compared to first field. Okay. Right. So let's do that. Okay. So I think we'll just say chords are going to store their quality. Okay. And then if we ask chord.factors, and again, we probably should probably develop a test for this. It's an array of factor, right? Array of factor, okay. And you return it by quality.factors. Okay, so back here, we're going to take the chord factors dot permutation. Oh, I have to import something. I really wish it would tell me. Guides. Well, let's try and open it. Oh, it just extends collection, but I have to import. I have to import something. Permutations of count. No, I should just be able to. Well, import algorithms. Okay. Permutations. Yeah, no, okay. And then we're going to run through each of those, right? So each permutation, we're going to call this and map it in. So, I do say order. Okay, so he's getting a list of optional, cannot call function on function chord. Let's rename this to shape. Optional type chord shape. Which one is that? Is that the factors? These are the right factors. Permutations. Map chord shape. Shape for chord, and this order returns an optional chord shape, right? That should be fine. Value of chord shape. Oh, I filter it, but it's still not. Oh, golly. How? Maybe flat map. I gotta look it up. And maybe that's the one they were replacing. I can't remember. I think I just do flat map $0. Yeah, please use compact map. Okay. Oh, so I think I can just replace that here. Compact map. Okay, so we have possible numbers. Run through each possible number, map it to this. If it comes back nil, throw it away. Okay. Okay, but it's probably a sorting issue. I hope it's a sorting issue. Sorting issue. 054. Oh, that's not good. Oh, yeah, that's actually is right, isn't it? So this is that open string rule kind of in action. Is grabbing the first D, and it's an open string, so it's very reachable. It's fine. But I think if we did look at E minor, it's going to be problematic because it would be 1, 6, 5 or something like that. Maybe 6.5. E minor would be 6. Okay. 1, 6, 5 is too big a stretch. 1 to 4 is about as big as I can manage. And I know people who can't hit the 1 2 4 A chord is an A chord and can't hit it. You know, they can't stretch that far. Um, And then the order is funny. That's So I think what I want to do. Well, this we don't restrict things based on their length at this point. Their reach. I think we have to take this set of shapes and then filter it by the reach, and maybe it's like if it's hard to reach, try moving a note, like move the lowest note up an octave and see if it's reachable then. Or move each note up an octave, I guess. Any combination? Maybe it's any combination. So people would tell you 4/5/7's a D chord probably faster than they would that 0/5/4 is a D chord. But I think given the way we compute things, this is actually correct. Now let's put some sorting on. So let's make our answer. Did we have the right number of answers first? Let's make sure that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay. So zeros first, 2, 3, 2, 2, 0, 0 is before 2, 3, 4. 4, 5. This is going to be 4, 5, 0. 4, 3, 2 comes before that. And this is 0, 5, 4. Okay. So, well, that'll fail, but let's say the shapes should be sorted. Come on. All right, so if I just say dot sorted, chord shapes don't have an implicit sort order. All right, let's make sure this was okay. 054, 002, 234, 200, 432, 450. Okay, so it's right other than the order. So we're letting our test do double duty in effect. All right, so chord shape. Let's make this thing sortable or comparable. Okay. All right. Excuse me. I can leave a message. All right. Let's do 0 dot less than fret LHS dot frets dot count. Well, if LHS dot fret is I guess if the LHS is greater than or equal to the RHS, then it's not less. Okay, he's not less if he's greater than or equal, but if he's less in each case, then he is less overall. I don't want to do descriptions, but I think our core frets are comparable, right? Yeah. Okay, so that's going by the chromatic index. So that is what I want. Has November LHS. Oh, frets. Okay. Now, we kind of know they're the same length, but if they're not, if the length of the left is shorter than the length of the right, that's okay. But if the length of the right is shorter, convert value of fret to type int. Who wants you to? Maybe I have to use less consistently. LHS.fret should return me a fret. Array of fret subsequence. Why? Oh. A subscript requires that fret conform to range expression. Index. Why index isn't a fret? Yeah, he does nothing. Fret to expected argument type. I don't know why that's confusing things. It's still an error. Cannot convert. Okay. I'll have to look up a for where. Okay. Well, we'll take that for now. So we compute all shapes for chord. All right. And we're going to add a test for that comparable argument. Okay, display, and then we need to, what was I going to say? I don't know. I feel like there's something else we got to do for this. But, okay. So that's working. That's sorted. All right, let's add the tests for comparable. Okay, so this is on ChordShape. Well, let's figure out this for while thing. Where foo do this? Okay. Not a construct I'm used to. I'm going to flip these back and see if my confusion was just... Because I thought if you defined less than, you got the others for free. And I think it makes more sense in this order. Did I not change it correctly? I thought I did greater than or equal. All right, let me add test. Okay. Where LHS is greater or equal to RHS. Okay, I'm wrong on that. All right. Well, we will leave it there. We'll pick up and fix the comparison tests, add the comparison tests tomorrow. And we'll get the view doing shapes instead of just shape. And hopefully we can get rid of this. All right. Well, thanks for joining today, and I'll catch you next time. 2 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern or 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC.